Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. It's Cynicalex, and today I want to talk about WASP's new uniform from the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie, and why, unlike Ant-Man's uniform, this one might be worse than you think. And it's honestly, in my opinion, one of the first letdown uniforms in quite a while for Marvel Future Fight. We've had Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2 that have been fantastic. We had basically 17 good to amazing, mind-blowing uniforms. And then we finally got what looks to be a bit of a stinker. But I will still give you the full breakdown on the uniform, why it's still better than her old uniform, and of course better than her non-uniformed look, and what you can expect to get out of the character if you build them up. Because I have spoken to people who got the character to level 70, who have already started to upgrade her gears past 20, because she has the possibility to realize her potential now with this new update. And most of the results and most of the feedback I got from that were negative or were neutral. So I do still hope from our end to Netmarble's end that they bring back and they come back to this patch and this update and they make a few minor adjustments. I think Wasp needs the most attention. Ant-Man needs a little bit of attention with his 5th skill, but otherwise, yeah, things are not looking too amazing right now for purchasers and owners of this new uniform. But what has changed with this new uniform? It's actually gotten some very nice aesthetic changes. So if you're a big fan of the movie, if you're a big fan of Hope Van Dyne, this is a beautiful uniform. It looks amazing. That's one thing that I can really never criticize Netmarble for, not since the Hulkbuster hands fiasco. But as far as her kit goes, she's still a very defensive character. They decided to try and increase her stats and increase her damage output a little bit more. They changed the 3rd skill buff on her skill. They added a 15% all attack buff for 20 seconds, so you can basically always have 15% attack up. Unfortunately, at tier 2, she has less than 18,000 energy attack. The only reason why it's this high is because she's in this team up with Ant-Man and Captain America, so she's getting an additional 5% and then an additional 3%. So her energy attack is actually lower than 17,600. If you can believe, some tier 1 characters, just for comparison, have that much energy attack before they go to tier 2. So it's really sad to see such a low number. So 15% is nice, don't get me wrong, but it's 15% of an extremely low number. The other things that changed for her on her old uniform, if we can do a very quick comparison, her old uniform and her base model are basically exactly the same. There's only one small change, but it doesn't actually affect the iframes. So on this uniform, you have no iframe on the 1st skill, very short, almost no iframe on the 2nd skill. 3rd skill is just a buff, so we can see here that it's missing the all attack. 4th skill is a long iframe, and the 5th skill is an iframe with a short delay, which gives you that invincibility bubble. But keep in mind, the bubble that she creates with this 5th skill on this uniform does not move. So she can move out of the bubble, but the bubble stays stationary. So the big change with this uniform is the addition of more iframes and the alteration or the improvement of that bubble, that immunity bubble. Of course, the immunity bubble doesn't block you from getting penetrated, but it's still pretty cool. So the 1st skill is now a pretty long iframe with okay damage with some crowd control or some kind of debuff effect, the all defense. The 2nd skill is also a long iframe, but I honestly don't understand what this skill does. The damage is pathetic. I almost can't tell she's doing damage at all, and it's like 1 or 2 hits. It's a long iframe, but it's basically for nothing. 3rd skill, as we've already discussed, is the addition of the all attack buff. 4th skill is a long iframe with good damage with a stun at the end where she throws a car, but when she throws the car, she's out of iframe, so it's a bit dangerous. And then the 5th skill is the same. It's an iframe with a short delay, but it does provide a shield that now moves with Hope. So this does make the character better for PvP technically, not necessarily better for 1 versus 1 PvP. Yes, it does make her better for 1 versus 1 PvP because she now can basically move anywhere in the arena, and if you play her on auto and a character tries to push her out of the bubble, that basically can't happen because the bubble moves with her. However, it definitely shines more in group PvP. So I'm talking King of the Hill, Shadowland Rumble, even a tier 1 Wasp can now help you get to maybe a higher stage, just one stage higher, because she'll help keep your other characters alive through the shield. And of course, things like Alliance Conquest are a no-brainer. I honestly do not think we will see this character at all in Alliance Tournament upon further kind of analysis, because her damage is just non-existent, and you can't bring in a character to Alliance Tournament who essentially does 0 damage. Tanks and meat shields and people who absorb hits are definitely a possibility, but even among tanks, Wasp is not even close to being #1. She cannot maintain a high dodge rate. She has no guaranteed dodge. Her HP is honestly not that high compared to some of the combat tanks we have, like Wolverine or Captain America, so she's just subpar in that category as a tanker. Otherwise, I think you should try to build the character however well and however you like the character. I can't really say with honesty that you're going to be satisfied with how defensive she is if you build her defensively. I don't think you're going to be satisfied with her if you build her offensively. But as you can see, I have 2 builds for the ISO 8 set. I still have my old Obelisk with guard break immunity. Now, the old uniform definitely needed guard break immunity. The new uniform and the new skills, guard break immunity is still preferred because it's just a great stat to have, but it's not as necessary. From her iframes, and I discussed this with Ant-Man, we have what's called fast iframes and slow iframes. Her first skill and her 4th skill are both fast iframes, so you can actually chain these 2 skills almost back to back to back, and the enemy most of the time will not be able to interrupt you or do anything. 2 and 5 are a little bit different. 2 appears to be almost as fast as 1, but 5 is substantially slower. She has a bit of a wind up where she's not an iframe, and that will allow enemies to interrupt you with their iframe. So you have to be careful a little bit with 5. Of course, 3, you almost never use this in PvP unless the enemy is stunned or dead and the other person is spawning, because this doesn't do anything for you defensively aside from the 11% dodge buff. But with the new iframes, I'll show you a bit of the PvP clips that I got through. There have been a few, I won't lie to you or try to hide the positive results. There have been a few matches, both on autoplay and on manual play, where my Wasp was able to kill a Thanos. I don't know whose Thanos it was, sorry to whoever it was out there, but she was able to kill a Thanos. And it was partially because she chained the right iframes over and over and over again, and it was partially because she has quite a bit of guard break on her skills. And when I fought a Thanos who unfortunately did not have guard break immunity on his Obelisk, that's what would happen. He would kind of stutter, I would be able to get into the next skill, he would stutter, and so on and so forth, mostly with 1 and 4, but of course it took a long time, and of course I had to get extremely lucky. The reason why I'm not showing you any of those clips of Wasp actually killing Thanos is because I don't want to build a false sense of power in this character, and I don't want to essentially highlight things that should be the case in other situations. And basically I have to rely on the perfect storm for Wasp to even have a chance. Basically against any character that she fights at tier 2, they can't have guard break immunity, and if they have iframe ignore like Nova, Cyclops, or Winter Soldier, she's absolutely dead. It's only a matter of seconds before it happens. If they have debuff immunity, it's also extremely difficult for her because she can't get off her silence effect from her paralyzing sting. She can't get off the paralyze, she can't get off the stun on Tiny Trick. So she's basically just stalling out the clock until she dies. Now, when she gets her tier 3, we may see a different character altogether. I don't know how much they're going to boost her stats by. If you compare her over here to Ant-Man, he's got the second best stat buff in the game, or the second best stat buff in the game behind Captain America, and he's still not good enough at tier 3. I want to just quickly show off my tier 3 Ant-Man because I'm going to be making a video in the next coming days about him, and I'm very excited to show him off, despite the fact that I don't think he's the best or even the second best tier 3. But yeah, I think it's kind of time to realize when a character could use more buffs in the future, with potentially more skills or more facets of the character being unlocked in the case of tier 3. But in this case, I don't even think a tier 3 skill will save her, and that's basically what I'm getting to. As far as other effects that you could give her for your Obelisk, you could definitely go with a damage proc. I think her 4th skill is by far the highest damaging skill in her roster, so you could try to time your damage proc with that. I don't recommend it. I recommend just going defensively. Go max HP, you could go dodge, you could go, of course, invincibility, but otherwise, it's really up to you and how you see fit to build the character. I don't think automatically that I have the best build for Wasp, and I am curious for you Mega Wasp fans out there. Have any of you found a build that works, that's viable, and that makes her a character that's more, 2 or 3 dimensional, because right now she's only on teams because of her Winsome Wasp tier 2 passive and possibly for her leadership and how that combines. But otherwise, she brings very little to the team. I just want to also finish off by showing you guys at least 4 of the 5 uniform options. We do have Rocket Raccoon, which is pretty cool, and then her 4th one is Groot from Infinity War. I actually can't come to mind with what the 5th one is, so let me know down in the comments below. But that is the breakdown and the review on Wasp's new uniform. I would like Netmarble to make a second pass at these uniforms, especially Wasp and Ant-Man from this new update, but who knows if they ever will. I wouldn't hold your breath for that, so purchase carefully. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of her and of the movie down in the comments below. Subscribe if you enjoy the content and you want to support me. Hit the bell if you don't want to miss any of my updates. And of course, if you like what you see, I hope to see you again tomorrow. Take care.